Pirates' codes of conduct refer to the set of rules and guidelines that governed life aboard pirate ships during the golden age of piracy. These codes, often referred to as articles, were mutually agreed upon by the crew and served to maintain order, distribute wealth, and regulate behavior in a life full of chaos and danger. The codes emphasized equality among crew members, providing a framework for collective decision-making, a stark contrast to the hierarchical structures found on merchant and naval vessels of the time. The significance of pirates' codes of conduct lies in their role in maintaining unity and discipline among notoriously unruly individuals. These codes illustrate an early form of democratic governance, with captains being elected and deposed based on the will of the crew. This democratic ideal was revolutionary for its time, highlighting a sense of fairness and equality that stands in stark contrast to the oppressive societal norms of the 17th and 18th centuries. Two notable examples underscore the practical application of these codes. The pirate captain Bartholomew Roberts enforced a code that banned gambling and required lights out by 8 in the evening, promoting discipline and order. Similarly, the infamous Blackbeard, Edward Teach, adhered to a code emphasizing the importance of medical care for injured pirates, ensuring each man's well-being as part of the crew's collective strength. These codes effectively molded each pirate crew into a self-governing, efficient unit, capable of daunting feats on the high seas. Supporters of pirates' codes often cite them as early precursors of labor rights and egalitarian principles. Critics, however, may argue that these codes are romanticized, obscuring the brutal and often violent realities of pirate life. Additionally, while these codes promoted equality among pirates, they were intrinsically exclusionary, often denying the same rights to captives, slaves, and victims of their raids. Furthermore, pirates' codes influenced broader aspects of piracy, such as loyalty, punishment for transgressions, and the fair division of spoils, reinforcing crew cohesion and cooperation. These codes laid the groundwork for a unique pirate culture which blurred the lines between lawful rebellion and outright lawlessness, thus challenging contemporary notions of morality and justice. In conclusion, pirates' codes of conduct offer a fascinating glimpse into pirate society, highlighting both the democratic aspirations and inherent contradictions of these fearsome figures. They serve as a compelling lens through which we can examine broader themes of governance, equality, and rebellion. The concept of pirate codes, often known as articles, refers to the set of rules and agreements that governed the behavior and organization of pirate crews during the golden age of piracy, generally spanning the late 17th century to the early 18th century. These codes were essential to maintaining order, fairness, and cooperation among pirate crews, whose members came from diverse and often turbulent backgrounds. They covered various aspects of pirate life, including the distribution of loot, compensation for injuries, responsibilities of different crew members, and disciplinary measures for offenses such as theft or desertion. The significance of these codes in relation to the main topic, fascinating yet fearsome, pirates' codes of conduct, lies in their dual nature. They were both pragmatic and progressive. Despite their lawless reputation, pirates recognized the necessity for internal governance to ensure survival in harsh conditions. This self-imposed order demonstrates a fascinating contradiction within the pirate world, a structured society operating outside of and often against traditional legal systems. One prominent example is the code attributed to Captain Bartholomew Roberts, which detailed clear terms for voting rights, equal division of loot, and compensation for injuries and disabilities. Another example is the code used by Captain John Phillips, emphasizing democratic principles such as the right to vote on major decisions and the election of officers. These codes illuminate the surprisingly egalitarian and democratic elements within pirate communities, showcasing their practical approach to leadership and resource distribution, a stark contrast to the rigid hierarchies of naval or merchant ships of the same era. While some admire the egalitarian nature of pirate codes, critics argue that their existence glorifies piracy by overshadowing the brutal and violent aspects of pirate life. Furthermore, there is debate over the true prevalence and strict enforcement of these codes, with some historians suggesting that the romanticized view of pirate democracy may be exaggerated. The exploration of pirate codes directly influences other aspects of pirate law, such as their reputation for unpredictability and ruthlessness, juxtaposed with a structured system that arguably fostered loyalty and unity. These rules also provided a framework that allowed pirate crews to resist external legal and military pressures effectively, fueling the lore of pirates as both fearsome adversaries and intriguing outlaws. Ultimately, understanding pirate codes enriches the broader narrative of piracy by revealing a deeper, more complex social system underlying the chaotic facade often associated with these seafarers. The heading Key Elements and Concepts in Pirate Charters refers to the foundational rules and agreements that governed pirate crews during the golden age of piracy. These charters, often called Articles of Agreement, were not only codes of conduct, but also contractual obligations that defined the structure of pirate society aboard a ship. Pirate charters were surprisingly democratic and egalitarian for their time. They outlined the division of plunder, compensations for injuries, and responsibilities of each crew member. Typically, these agreements were put to a vote, and every crew member had an equal say, making them essential to maintaining order and fairness among often volatile personalities. The significance of pirate charters lies in their role in maintaining a semblance of order and mutual respect in an inherently lawless profession. The overall success and longevity of a pirate crew often depended on the clarity and fairness of these agreements. By ensuring a shared understanding of rights and obligations, pirate charters facilitated cooperation and reduced conflicts, which were crucial for the survival and efficacy of the crew. One famous example of a pirate charter is that of Bartholomew Roberts, whose articles included provisions for equality in voting and shares of loot, as well as punishments for misconduct, such as gambling or fighting on board. Another example is the Charter of Captain John Phillips, which outlined the democratic election of the captain and quartermaster and detailed the distribution of loot, emphasizing fair compensation for injuries sustained in battles. Scholars and historians have often praised pirate charters for their progressive approach, suggesting they were early models of democratic practice. In contrast to the rigid hierarchy of naval or merchant ships, pirates practiced a form of governance that valued the voices and welfare of their crew. However, these charters were not without their challenges and controversies. The inherent tension between individual freedom and collective security could lead to disputes, especially when interpreting the guidelines or dealing with breaches of conduct. Some critics argue that despite their democratic ideals, the underlying motive of pirate charters was rooted in the economic necessity of maintaining an efficient and unified crew, rather than in altruistic principles. Additionally, while the codes enforced discipline among pirates, they did little to curtail their notorious brutality and lawlessness towards outsiders. In the broader context of piracy, these charters exemplify the complex interplay between chaos and order, highlighting the dual nature of pirates as both fearsome outlaws and innovative social organizers. By examining these charters, we gain insight into how pirates managed to thrive as autonomous communities, influencing the perceptions and narratives surrounding their turbulent world. Pirate codes of conduct, often shrouded in myth and legend, were essential frameworks that governed the operations aboard pirate ships. These codes were agreements among the crew that outlined rules on discipline, the division of loot, and even interpersonal conflicts. While one might imagine pirates as unruly and chaotic, these codes demonstrated a structured and surprisingly democratic approach to managing their dangerous ventures. A comparative analysis of different pirate codes reveals the intriguing ways these structures varied, yet were similar in their core intent to maintain order amidst lawlessness. In understanding the significance of pirate codes of conduct, we gain insight into how pirates balanced personal freedom with the need for collective cooperation. These codes were crucial for shipboard life, ensuring that crew members remained loyal and motivated by presenting a shared understanding of rules and rewards. They are an essential element of pirate life, directly challenging the perception of pirates as mere anarchists. Instead, they reflect a unique blend of democracy and discipline that was a central tenet of their operations. One renowned example is the code attributed to Captain Bartholomew Roberts, which emphasized fairness and equality in dividing the plunder and even addressed compensation for injuries. Meanwhile, Captain John Phillips's code required absolute obedience to commands and restricted gambling. Each captain had variations that suited their leadership style and crew, but all codes ensured stability and order. Such codes became blueprints for governance among those living on the fringes of society. While many admire the democratic elements of these codes, such as voting on key matters and distributing plunder equitably, challenges arise in romanticizing these systems. Critics point out that these were still violent criminals whose codes often explicitly permitted violence and lawlessness against others. The ethical considerations of their broader societal impact cannot be overlooked. Alternative viewpoints suggest that the focus on fairness within pirate codes only applied internally, while their external activities were ruthless, highlighting a dichotomy between internal justice and external brutality. This contrast speaks volumes about the multifaceted nature of pirate culture. Finally, this analysis connects to the broader topic by illustrating that these codes not only influenced pirate activities, but also shaped their reputational legacy. By investigating pirate codes, one can explore how these elements of governance influenced the organizational practices of other maritime and even modern organizational structures, hinting at a legacy beyond high seas adventures. It reveals the interplay of power, freedom, and order, encapsulating the very essence of what makes pirate lore both fascinating and fearsome.